Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Glossy Philosophy. My name is Jansen Bidman. Make sure that you are subscribed to this channel. Give this video a thumbs up because today we are playing with those springtime pinks, that glowy skin, and easy makeup for you to transition into spring. So stay tuned. I've already washed my face and done my skincare, so let's get started by neutralizing the face. First, we are going to neutralize the eyelids with NARS Tinted Smudge Proof Eyeshadow Base. Just rolling that doe foot applicator onto our fingers, taking whatever is on there and splitting it between the two, just so that we don't end up with a ton of silicone on our eyelids. Silicone is great for smoothing out the skin, and because this one is tinted, it's also great for basically neutralizing any little veins that are peeking through or popping through. It just gives you a really nice base, and this one seems to work with all eyeshadows no matter what they're made with. Now we need to neutralize the under eye area, so I'm going to take Bobbi Brown Corrector, also on my ring finger, and just really lightly tap that in. This is just going to brighten up and also camouflage any blue or purple that is peeking through. The Bobbi Brown Correctors so far are my favorite correctors, although I really do like the Charlotte Tilbury ones as well. There just aren't as many shades. Now that we have neutralized everything, we can start building on that, and we are going to start by tightlining the eyes with one of Lisa Eldridge's pencils in Cinder Smoke. Black is a great option, or a navy blue is another great option. Now we can start to move on to complexion, the complexion piece. We're not doing anything crazy with our eyes. We are going to be using the Muse palette because I just wanted something really light and spring forward for spring. When I think of youthful spring makeup, I think of a glowy skin, but not overly glowy. So I'm going to take her highlighter in Crystal Nebula, just a little bit again from the wand on my ring finger, and I'm going to put that right on that bone that goes around the eye. So I'm basically doing like parentheses, or I'm doing Pac-Man shapes right here. I can also, if I want, bring that down the center of the nose, but I don't want to really focus it on the ball of my nose because I personally think that looks like you have a sweaty nose. So I don't like to bring it down that far. It's really from your bridge all the way to almost that bump. Now, you do you, and if you really like that highlighted tip of the nose, go for it. You could of course do it on your lip, but I'm going to have breakfast after I do this makeup tutorial, so I'm not going to worry about my lips too much because it's going to just go away after I have breakfast. Now I'm going to shake up my foundation, make sure the pigments are all evenly distributed, and take Lisa's foundation, do one pump on the back of my hand, and I'm actually going to apply this with my fingers and then go in with a brush later. I want this to be a very quick and youthful makeup, something that you can do very quickly in the mornings without using too many tools, although I do love a brush. Sometimes it's nice to just get in there with your fingers and then do the cleanup with a brush. Lisa actually just did a video about brushes being really important, taking off excess makeup. And I love that idea of making sure that everything is very seamless, very natural looking. I think we are entering into a time where we're kind of going back to a more skin is skin. It's not a plastic look. It's not overly covered. And I love that. That is definitely my personal aesthetic. So now I can go in with my fluffy foundation brush and just kind of bounce it, and also make sure that any time I have an edge on my face, that it's nice and blended out. Because your fingers will only do a good job, a brush will do a great job. A brush can just seamlessly blend where fingers cannot. So it is really nice to go in with both. I'm going to set this aside and I'm going to use it later when I do my blush. Before I do my blush, I'm going to go in with my concealer, and you can see that this is a ride or die for me for sure. This is the GIORGIO Armani Luminous Silk, and just like with all the other products, I'm taking that doe foot applicator, I'm getting it on my ring finger, which I have wiped down. I'm splitting it, and then I'm going to place it and bounce my finger in kind of a fan shape or a triangle underneath my eye. I want it to be a little bit softer than a sharp triangle. If I am trying to really define this area and really highlight that, then I'm going to be a little bit more geometrical with it. I'm going to use more of those sharp lines. But For my face shape, I really like a little bit of a softer triangle, so that's why I call it a fan. And then once again, I'm going in with a fluffy brush, blending out those edges just very gently. I'm barely touching the skin and making sure I'm bouncing where I feel like I need more coverage and blending, doing those painterly movements when I feel like I need those edges blurred, and I can always go back in with my fingers. Now we are ready for blush. I am going to use a cream blush by PIXI. This is one of my favorites, although it does not last a very long time. It's very easy to take with you. So now you have a choice. You can go back in with your fingers and just really lightly blend that into the skin, or you can go in with a brush, or you can do both and just pat that in. Make that a little bit more a part of the makeup. This is kind of like Lisa's technique of taking away the makeup. Just by using more than one tool, it really helps to create this seamless look where I just woke up like this kind of a deal. So the skin is looking great. Now I need to powder if I want to do some powders. I'm going to be using a different powder today. This is the Givenchy. It has 4 different colors, and all of these colors do something. It does come in lots and lots of different color options. This one is really great if you are on the paler side. It's going to brighten, it's going to get rid of redness, it is going to do all the things that you need a powder to do. First, I'm going to use the 110 just to make sure that I'm setting underneath the eyes and not going too crazy. So just, again, doing those bouncing motions with the powder right under my eyes, and then I can always decide if I want powder anywhere else. So I just tapped a little bit into the lid. The lid of a loose powder container is your friend. Use it. Do not use the top part of the actual container. Do not use this part to gather your powder. Dump it into the top. That will save you so much powder and so much mess. So now you can see I'm nice and velvety through the center of my face. I do want to add a little bit of bronzer, so anything that's left in the cap I'm going to take with my big brush, and I'm just going to powder where I know sometimes my brush gets a little stuck with that bronzer. So now I'm going to go in with Charlotte Tilbury's bronzer, the Airbrush bronzer, on the BK Beauty bronzer brush, and I'm just going under that cheekbone and onto the cheekbone. And you can see because I put that powder on, it's just going on really nice and seamless. If I hadn't put that powder down, for me, because I'm using so many oils in my skincare, it does tend to drag and I do get a little bit of a skip. If you feel like you overdid it or it's just not as seamless as you like, go back in with your foundation brush and just kind of mimic what you just did, but do it a little bit more gently and just make sure that everything feels really seamless. So now I have a nice color to my face, but it doesn't, I'm not trying to confuse anybody. I'm not trying to look like I went on vacation or anything like that. I'm going to go in with my lip gloss now. This is Songbird, because we are really focusing on the pink in the eyes, and I don't want to go with a bubblegum pink on my lips. It's going to be too much pink. So I'm going with a soft brown pink, which is Songbird. I'm also feeling like Songbird is really the perfect spring lip gloss because it's not too rosy, it's not too brown, it has a hint of pink, and you can really do whatever you want on the eyes. The only time I found that this doesn't work is if I'm going with a very neutral eye. Sometimes my look can look a little flat and I need to add another color or a color underneath and take it down with Songbird. So just keep that in mind. If you're playing with those colors that are always really popular in spring, like the pinks or blues or anything like that, Songbird is a great one, or even if you're going with a super dark smoky eye. But if you're going very neutral, very everyday, I would choose Muse or Charm or Petal or any of the other ones that have a little bit more color, because otherwise you can look a little dead. Now we are ready for our eyeshadow palette. We're going to be playing with these 2 colors mostly, and then we'll see if we need anything else. So going in with my 201 into that lightest shade and just starting to place that onto that outer third, finding my socket, and then blending that out. Super fluffy brush, it's going to do the work for you. Don't feel like you have to press very hard. I always like to put a little bit on the lid so everything feels nice and cohesive, And then that way I can also decide if I want to take the darker colors all over the lid, if that's how the face is feeling, or if I want to keep it nice and bright. But then I've started to create a shadow on the outside, which just lifts the eye. You get this automatic eye lift. It's amazing. I'm going to go in with a 217 into that middle shade, which is a little bit darker, and I'm going to mix it in with that lighter shade. So we're just gently building, and I'm basically doing the same thing, but because I'm using a denser brush, it's going to put down more pigment. Going right into the socket, just above the crease, and just feathering that out a little bit, and that just creates a little bit more dimension for the eye. You can also use this technique with the same shadow, but use different density in your brushes, and that is a phenomenal way to get a really cool look, but just by using one shadow. And there's no shame in that. So I'm actually really loving the simplicity of this. It's just a hint of pink, picks up the pink in my shirt. So now I'm going to go in with that darker color, but I'm going to go in on a pencil brush. I'm going in with this dark matte shade, or this dark satin shade, and I'm also going to mix in this medium shade. And I'm just going to get really close to my lash line and build that up. I don't really want to do a liner. Again, I want to keep this really nice and fresh. So this is a great technique using a pencil brush or something like this that can really act as a liner for you. And you can see this just lifts this eye just a little bit, just by adding that little bit of shadow by the lash line. It's a great way to give yourself even more definition without using a liner. So now we have a really nice liner, but everything feels very nice and cohesive. It doesn't really look like a liner. And I'm still angling that shadow right here up a little bit. So again, it gives me that little bit of a lift without using a black liner. Now, you can take a step back here, and if you feel like your eyes are getting a little lost, you can go in with something really chocolatey brown, like ground coffee, or anything that is a little bit deeper, a little bit darker. You can also go in with an angled brush and go back in with the darkest color and really pop your lash line. We're going to stop here with the eyeshadow, and I'm going to start with my primer and then go in with the big Ego. I'm finding this combination to be insane with my lashes, and I'm loving it. Tipping my head back so I can really get into the roots. Twirling my wand, making sure I'm getting all that product onto my lash line. And I'm also letting the wand do a lot of the work, but holy smokes. Now we can finish off the look with some brows. So I'm going to quickly comb down with a spoolie, and then I'm just filling in any gaps, going in the same direction as the brow hair, and maybe adding in a little bit in the front for me, and doing the same thing on the other side, and then combing through. And that is the finished makeup look. Thank you guys so much for watching this makeup tutorial. I love doing quick and easy makeup to just uncomplicate the makeup process, because you can always take a look like this and build it up if you want to add that cat eye. You can go in so many different directions, but this is a great place to start. I do fashion videos every Wednesday, beauty videos every Friday. Make sure you are watching me on Instagram and the shorts in between for more tips and tricks to make your life a little bit easier and a little bit more glossy, and I will see you very soon. Bye!